Hello and welcome to MetaNights. I'm Loku, a collector of stories, where we tell your story. The main character in today's story tells us that the main part of her daily work is to stuff small ads in the toilets of hospitals.
3 months ago, as usual, I went into the hospital bathroom with a small card to write and distribute advertisements. That day, I didn't know that a security guard had noticed me, so she dragged me to the security lobby and said, "Take everything out of your bag." That day I was very good, just sit there, I only part-time, she gave me a very high wage a day, do not arrest me, I just pretended to be very poor kind. Then that day, sitting there, she gave me a long lesson, she said, "You know, if this is a fraudulent industry, do you know if she cheated people in the past how to get rid of your reproductive organs, or what have you thought about this serious problem?" I said I hadn't thought about it, I said I was just helping others part-time, just insist to say part-time. My name is Han, I am 26 years old, and I am working in the surrogacy agency industry.
In China, the surrogacy industry is a secretive and vast underground kingdom. According to the Ministry of Health in 2001, human-assisted reproduction techniques are strictly restricted and any form of embryo trading is prohibited. Medical institutions and medical personnel are also not allowed to perform any surrogacy techniques. However, in the past few years, the infertility rate among the Chinese population of childbearing age has climbed to 12.5% to 15%. Between the rising market demand and official control, the surrogacy agency industry has become single.
My daily routine was to carry those little cards, go to underground parking lots, go to hospital restroom doors and write on them, IVF, surrogacy, package boys, package success, my own phone number. I do all that work. Usually people don't believe them because they don't think they are reliable. After all, they see the picture in the ad, and they think it's not very good. We will have our own company, our own hospital, of course the hospital will not tell them, we said, if you sincerely want to do, we will bring you to our company, we look at. Yes, rent an office building, a few desks, basically there are not many people, only customers, we will say to go over. Our company is all 90 years old, the boss is 91 years old, the youngest is 96 years old. Our boss is very hard work, she is actually like us this way over, on a daily basis to send small ads, this way very hard work.
Surrogacy is the formation of an embryo from an in vitro fertilized egg, which is then implanted in the womb of the surrogate mother, who delivers the baby. So what a surrogacy agency does is to help the client find the eggs, hire the surrogate mother and the medical staff to perform the procedure and earn the difference in price from the process.
In fact, my first business was quite successful, I was very lucky. Our boss said, buy a marker, then go to the toilet door to write how much surrogacy, how much egg donation, and write their phone number. Then I bought a marker and went to a shopping mall. The actual fact is that you can find a lot of people who are not able to get a lot of money from the internet. I was in the mall just shopping, but also in the mall to write some ads. Because the work of a number and then a number of their own the work of that number did not receive, and then shopped a little, I rested, I looked at it, I said forget, maybe what advertising and so on, I said not to receive. The first thing I did was to get a call from a woman, and then I got it. I remember it was raining that day, and I didn't have an umbrella, so I went to a shopping mall, which had a place to hide from the rain, and I squatted and talked to her for almost an hour or so. In fact, this woman she can get pregnant, her eggs are relatively small, she said I cannot stand the feeling of pregnancy, I do not want to suffer this, she wants to do the surrogacy. Then the operation, surrogacy more than 300,000, the operation fee of 100,000, she does not choose the sex, and then the money is a surgery money, not that my child miscarried, and then I have to return these money to you, or what? The actual money is not to say that my child is aborted, and then I have to return these money to you, or how about, if you still want to do it here, and then pay a 5,000 surgery fee, this way. The actual fact is that at that time is very nervous, the basic knowledge of nothing, she asked what, and then I have to take a long time to say answer this way. The first time I saw her, I told her to go for a medical checkup, and when she got her period in a month or so, she checked the quantity and quality of her follicles on the second day of her period, so she went for the checkup and sent me a dozen of these test reports. I was quite happy to send it to our boss, who then said she only had 3 or 4 follicles. I said, "What about this?" She said, "Make an appointment to come to the office." That day was early in the morning at 9 o'clock, my boss and I just drove to the train station to pick her up, and then at first I saw that she felt quite young. She said she was in her 40s, but like a 30-something kind of person. She came with her husband. I looked at them, does not look like doing IVF kind of feeling, because her husband is also very casual dress kind of. Then we picked her up to our company, and talked to her. In fact, this woman was psychologically prepared. She may have learned about it. She said, "It was my first time to do this IVF. You just directly said, what is the success rate?" I said, "You 3 eggs. I said, I dare not guarantee. I said, I can only guarantee that we try our best." Our boss said she had never met a woman with 3 eggs who insisted on using her own eggs. In fact, there are some other conditions that she wants, such as what if the surrogate mother leaves in the middle, what if your company closes down, what if you run away, and what if the surrogate mother wants to take the child away after she gives birth, which are many strange problems in signing the contract. In fact, we all know in our hearts that signing a contract in our line of work is actually not protected by law. It is just a binding of the 2 sides, to establish a mutual trust, and then a mutual binding of this way, and did not say anything else. We simulated a typed, and then she signed this way. Yes, this time, about 2 hours, she gave the money.
As of the time of our interview, this client's surrogacy order had not yet reached the final stage of delivery. Among the clients seeking underground surrogacy services, those with fertility problems like this one are only some of them, and surrogacy agencies will offer different packages for clients with different needs and physical conditions, and charge different prices.
The majority of these women are older, and want to have a child because their lives have stabilized. The most important thing is that you have to be able to find a surrogate. You don't want to give birth to a son. You want a son, your family is in the countryside, and you want a son, you want to raise the status of your family. There is also gay, lesbian, and gay this way.
Once a client is recruited, if the client's own eggs are not up to the standard for conception, the monogamy agency will need to find a suitable young girl for them and obtain their eggs through an egg retrieval procedure.
The actual fact is that there are a lot of ways to get the most out of this. We will add a lot of groups, and then in the group we'll say that the eggs is that you have extra eggs. You can sell money this way. Either we'll say very euphemistic, what is the female medical equipment of some experimenters, this way. The actual fact is those college students, high school students more, and then like to buy some luxury because the money is still quite a lot, for them or quite a lot, 50 to 60,000 bar, there are 70 to 80,000 this way. Unless you are mixed, you are Russian those of the.
When surrogacy agencies price the girls they offer, they generally consider 3 factors: looks, height, and education. In addition to this, there is the uncertainty that some clients will ask to interview the girls in order to ensure that they will get a child that will inherit better genes. After the interview and medical examination, the agency will arrange for the girls to receive 10 ovulation injections and then undergo a secret egg retrieval procedure.
It's a wonderful feeling, because I've taken one before, and then at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, we usually pick the night, very late, smothering her eyes, and then take her over this way. The girl, she cannot know this hospital. In fact, this hospital is not the kind of small kind of underground kind. In fact, it is open to the roadside. Just say, "I will not let you the girl know where this is." Because you know this thing, China is not legal, so we generally do not let them see. We will take her into the operating room. I will wait for her outside. She is a minimally invasive surgery kind, 10 minutes, it can be fixed. In a place like this, when someone wants a transplant, we will notify a doctor and a nurse, and then it's usually until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, about 10 or 5 or 8 of them. Our doctors, in fact, are very good hospital. It is the formal, that is to say, obstetrics and gynecology of this hospital. In fact, the count is good, but they may want to make a little extra money. Well, The next step is to hire a surrogate mother to implant the embryos into their uterus and wait for the birth. In this process, they sign a strict agreement with these women, and they also feed them together to ensure that their hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of wombs and embryos are not misplaced. We usually have a list of surrogate mothers, and then we go to various places in the countryside to post them, and then we call them to Changsha, feed them, house them, give them medical checkups, and raise their endometrium and uterus properly. The first thing you need to do is to get a good idea of what you are getting into. The actual fact is that they are usually living in higher neighborhoods than us, eating better than us, and those aunts will cook for them. They just need to live, and then grow their bellies. The actual fact is that you will not be able to get involved with the child in the future, and they will not have any contact information after the child is born, either by phone or by WeChat, or in any other way. The actual fact is that you can find a lot of people who are not able to get a good deal on this. The first time I got pregnant, I got along quite a bit, and then I would give them an injection, talk to them, sit with them, and so on. Because it is a late baby, not a normal pregnancy, then they will more or less appear some embryos and your belly have some kind of fusion process, and then mutual rejection process, more or less will have some discomfort. It is quite sad to see them, and it is not easy to earn this money. If I meet surrogate mothers, basically there are only a few in the countryside, one, and the others are in the city. They simply do not want to go out to work, and the conditions are quite good, just to have a child. Of course, there are also those in rural areas whose families are under a lot of pressure to give money to their families and so on. There was a woman who was 27 years old, 8 years old or so, from the countryside of Guangdong, 3 generations of farmers farming this kind of, and then she found us. She said how much money she could get. I gave her the price quoted after she said, "Okay, can I do this? You can transfer the embryo to you." "No," she said, "it's fine whether you have it or not. I have to get well first. You should find embryos for me as soon as possible. If not, I have to change to the next one." I said yes. I said you raise it. I said, to a month, pull the physical examination. She passed everything. She said good, then you will quickly give me the transfer. I really need the money. I said that you have your brother at home. I said how not to pay. She refused to say at that time. I said I want to give my family these money. The day of the embryo transfer, she was very happy, because after the successful embryo transfer, we will have more than 10,000 per month this way to give her money, before the successful transfer, then 2,000 yuan. Well, after the transfer is actually very hard, and also to lie flat, but also to lie to the bed. She kept smiling like this. I said, "What are you smiling at?" She said she was very happy. She said I could finally get 10,000 yuan instead of a few thousand yuan, not enough for me to eat. I said, "You owe someone money, that is, there is so urgent." She said no, she said my family, I have to feed my daughter. She said I have to send a $5,000 or $6,000 back every month. She said if I don't send it, my family will really starve to death. I said it's not that exaggerated. I really don't believe that it will starve to death. She said my father was a gambler. She said as long as the family has a little valuable things, he will take out to sell, not a penny to the family. Just my mother planted some fields, is to sell some vegetables. How enough, she said. She was married to her husband, and after she got married, her husband had domestic violence. He beat her every day, and then she was divorced. The father is also a gambler, and will not say to bring money home. She showed me this. Her photos are those of her family. I saw her daughter when she was very happy, the kind of happy kind of smile from the heart out of that feeling. Her home is really a private home, a table, a chair, a bed, partitioned up kind, is a big single room this kind of. Oh, I said well, I said you also quite hard. In the end, the girl raised herself well, and she also wanted to get the money as soon as possible to raise the child well, that is, I want to get the money. Then when she gave birth, she felt that she had unloaded a truckload of goods and got a sum of money, and then she was so happy that she said I would come back, that is, she would come back as a surrogate, she said. My daughter is also going to school soon, and she said I'm also very short of money, and she said I'll be back. Basically, the surrogate mothers we meet are actually from their own families. Either the father has these bad habits, and then either they have too many children in their families, and they really need you to share them, and they need you to bear them.
Han has not been in the industry for long, and what she has come across is only the tip of the iceberg of this huge industry. Between the ethical contradictions, legal constraints, and huge profits, these hidden transactions are like those small cards and spam ads, running busily in the corners you and I don't notice. You're watching MetaNights, and I'm Anchor Loku. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.